Hi guys, it's your girl Xee and Cyn, and we're back with another video, and we are reacting to a short history of slavery in 5 minutes, and we got this from PragerU. The link will be in the description below if you guys want to check out that video.
All right,
let's get into it.
And now for a brief history of slavery. Here's the first thing you need to know. Slavery was not invented by white people. It did not start in 1619 when the first slaves came to Jamestown. It existed before then. It did not start in 1492 when Columbus discovered the New World. In fact, when the intrepid explorer landed in the Bahamas, the native Taino tribe hoped that he would help them defeat their aggressive neighbors, the Caribs. The Caribs enslaved the Taino and, on occasion, served them for dinner. Slavery existed in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The word slave actually comes from the Slavs of Eastern Europe. Millions of them, all white by the way, were captured and enslaved by Muslims in the 9th century and later by the Ottoman Turks. Slavery existed when the Roman Empire controlled the Mediterranean and most of Europe from the 1st through the 5th centuries. Slavery existed when Alexander the Great conquered Persia in the 4th century BC. It was so common that
Basically, slavery has been around for a very long time, even
since
in
the
Bible
beginning of
times.
that time.
Exactly, basically, it's been around, and that's so true. When you look back, slavery has been around for eons, and it's like people against each other. But during war, also, you'd be taken as slaves, captives. That is a thing from back then. So slavery is a common thing, especially from back then.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it's nothing new, I would say.
Aristotle simply considered it natural. The slave master model was just how the world operated in the great philosopher's day. Slavery existed during the time of the ancient Egyptians 5,000 years ago. As far back as we can go in human history, we find slavery. As renowned historian John Steele Gordon notes from time immemorial, slaves were a major item of commerce. As much as 1/3 of the population of the ancient world was enslaved. Here's the second thing you need to know. White people were the first to formally put an end to slavery.
Did you know that?
White people. I did not know that.
Okay. That's a new one on your book, don't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
1833, Britain was the first country in the history of the world to pass a Slavery Abolition Act.
Yeah.
They were quickly followed by France, who in 1848 abolished slavery in her many colonies.
Yep.
Then, of course, came the 13th Amendment in the United States Constitution.
Yes. British was, I remember we did a video on that. The link will be in the description for that.
Slavery. That was a shocker for you.
Yes, because I did not know that
Yeah.
at all. Did not know that.
My hats to them as always. Because when I found that out, I was like, what? Are you serious? And it's not being talked about. You always hear, oh, this country did that. But you never really heard that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's not well known, especially when I was learning about slavery here in America. I did not know that. I think it's like worth mentioning that they were the first to end it worldwide, because that is huge.
But if you notice on this list, you notice who first, who second,
France,
who's third.
and then America's the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see how long it took them though?
Yes.
Yeah. And even though it took them that time, it wasn't necessarily abolished, because it was still in certain states.
Yes.
So yeah.
After centuries of human slavery, white men led the world in putting an end to the abhorrent practice.
Yep.
That includes the 300,000 Union soldiers, overwhelmingly white, who died during the Civil War. Now, am I saying that this makes white people better than anyone else?
No.
Of course not. My purpose here is to simply tell the truth, and the truth is that human history is complicated. No one, regardless of skin color, stands guiltless. Yet today we are never told to consider the murderous Persian Empire or the cannibalism of indigenous tribes of North and South America, or the heinous actions under the imperialistic Muslim, Chinese, Mongol, or Japanese empires, to name just a few. Instead, we're told that slavery is a white phenomenon. And like all persistent
Do you agree with what she said?
Yeah, you hear most about white people being slave masters more than anything else. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because you don't hear about your counterpart doing it.
You don't. You
your
really
counterpart
don't.
doing it to you. You're mainly, that's what is pushed. But then when it's what? But that's where race comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Lies. This lie spawns a bunch of other lies. On social media, I come across extraordinary depictions about how Africans lived like pharaohs before Europeans came and laid waste to their paradise. I wish any of this were true, but it's not. It's a fantasy. The truth is that Africans were sold into slavery by other Black Africans, and in many cases, sold for items as trivial as gin and mirrors. Whites didn't go into the interior and round up the natives. They waited on the coast for their Black partners to bring them Black bodies. The stark reality is that our lives had very little value to our ancestors.
Yep.
Here's the third thing you need to know. If you think slavery is a relic of the past, you're wrong. There are some 700,000 slaves in Africa today, right now. That's the lowest estimate that I could find. Other sources say there are many more. For context, that's almost twice as many slaves as were ever brought to the United States. Child soldiers, human trafficking, forced labor, these are the conditions that currently exist within the same sub-Saharan region where the transatlantic slave trade originated. African bodies are being sold today like they were sold then, and no, they are not being purchased by any country of white men. In fact, slavery, by any traditional definition, is exclusively practiced today within non-white countries. But we hear almost nothing about that. Just like we hear nothing about...
Oh, sorry. That is true. I remember watching like a documentary on YouTube here. Slavery is still a thing in Africa. Certain areas, it's not as publicized. It's like it's not on news as compared to other things, but that is still a thing that's very much still in Africa. There are different forms of it. Human trafficking is huge in Africa. Kidnapping, even being house helps, that can turn into a form of slavery because I think you've heard the stories. You get called up, okay, that's like a job in this country. Come here, you'll get the job. Once they get there, they're slaves. Yeah, they get locked. They can't go back. They take their passports, everything that they have, and they are
in the Middle Eastern
country.
Crazy.
Yeah, Dubai, that's a big one. Yeah. India, that's another one. Even Liberia, Libya, like those places, like it's scary that it's still a thing that's happening, but it's like
and it's hush hush.
It is super hush hush.
Sad. Yeah.
About how slavery was universal until good people in Europe and America ended it 2 centuries ago. Why? Because our so-called leaders, Black and white, wouldn't profit from it. Black victimhood is nothing if not profitable. It elects politicians and funds racial grievance groups. And if Black Americans began to view themselves as partners in the American dream, if we embraced the patriotic spirit that holds all men are created equal, the patriotic spirit that is our real heritage, then the race hustlers would soon be out of business. And who wants that? I'm Candace Owens, author of Blackout for Prager University.
To divide
and conquer. What a powerful video. I think that should be I think every school needs to have this. It's 5 minutes, not that long, but you may not like her. Some people don't like her, and that's okay.
And she's not everybody's cup of tea.
She's not everybody's
cup
of tea.
You can see that, and we know that. But you can't.
Yeah, you can still take the information that she's
the messenger.
Yeah, exactly.
The front part of that statement.
I think it's a statement called "You can still eat the meat, but chew out the bones." Like you don't have to like her, but you can still take in what she's saying.
Yeah,
and that's true.
And a lot of people don't tend to do that because of who it's coming from. They just don't want to hear it, which is
Black
sad.
And she's a woman.
Okay,
that's it.
And it's sad. And then she's against a lot of stuff.
It is. Yes, she's very opinionated.
Yeah, she's spicy. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing, that it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. It's like I said, it's divide and conquer. It's split apart. It's like there's no unity involved. And once we can divide and conquer, then that's all there is to it. Exactly. You understand me? And not only that, and then people don't stop to think about it's keeping you down. It's keeping you back. there's no elevation from a certain mindset. I can go on and on about this one. This is my second time seeing the video. I just showed it to Cyn because I'm like, we're going on a roller coaster ride with these videos. So it's your girl Xee and it's your girl Cyn. Let us know in the comment section what you think. Point blank, what's your view on this one? But shocker, like we said, this is not being taught in school. It's not at the forefront. You don't hear this on an everyday basis within school for kids to know this at an early age. So we can stomp out certain things. But like I said, there's an agenda. There's always an agenda behind everything. Love you guys, and we'll definitely catch you guys in another one.
Bye.
Bye.